Hi everyone, this is your Senator Nepotism, and today we are going over the hierarchy of laws in the Democratic Republic of Julia as of here and now. The most up-to-date one is not this. This is an older version. It is down here in the Bill of Rights, now 2021. And as you can see, at internal priority, this is the list, right? You'll notice that this is a little bit different because, of course, we have the Constitution up at the top, so supreme law of the land, they both agree on this. But below that is constitutional law. Constitutional law is not here. Where it would be is Constitution and amendments. And I don't know if Rack made the same misunderstanding that I did and thought that constitutional law was like an old way of doing amendments, or if he just wanted to remove constitutional law altogether, because it's still here in Title IX. Here we are. Constitutional law, 2/3 majority of the Senate can pass laws that pertain to the Constitution. Why that's kind of confusing and why I feel like it would be an issue for new users is because the constitutional law being in the same spot as Constitution plus amendments in the later system makes it look like this is how amendments work. And you can tell in 2.6 that this is not how it works. You need people plus the Senate to pass an amendment. But for the sake of consistency, I think that in our final version, this is what it's going to look like. We should establish both the Constitution and constitutional law below that, so that there is no, so that there's no room for misunderstanding. Law, pretty much the same deal. Like, it's the same across the board. We don't have to worry about that. Now, where things get a little bit goofy is in referendum/petition law. Titles 9 and 21 both establish this, but it's called different things and it's in different spots in the hierarchy. Now, for some reason, they put referendum law all the way down at the bottom in Title 9 originally, below norms even. They put it below just norms, which is kind of silly in my opinion, but I digress. If you look at the Bill of Rights, they actually buffed it significantly to be right here between legislative law and above the orders, right? And I agree with this strongly, and this is the current system that we now have because this was created most recently. New supersedes the old, and we're going to be keeping to this in the final version. But it is weird that it was called two different things and that it's in different spots. And this is a problem when you're looking at like Title IX, right? And you see it's down the bottom, but then you see it's in the middle in a different spot. We really should just have one system for how it works in the Constitution. That's not even getting into 2.5. That's a story for another day. We got executive order, which I mentioned briefly. It's in 21, right? It's not in Title IX. That's just straight up not mentioned. Now, executive orders have been used for a while because of a loophole that somebody found. And that's why our current president, President Jash, does not like them and she never uses them. At least to my knowledge. She might have used it like once or twice at some point. But for the most part, she wants to pass things through the Senate. She feels that that is the proper way. But what's interesting is that in the Bill of Rights, they've added executive orders as a legitimate legal option for the president. No loopholes necessary. It's not really defined how it works, but we can make inferences based on its position here in the hierarchy. So you can pass executive orders to your heart's content, but you probably want to regulate yourself a little bit so you don't get impeached or something. Then, of course, ministerial orders. They work pretty much the same way, right? We go up to, not 4. Here we go. We go to 9.4, ministerial orders, regulate the law, day-to-day functions, right? They only cover topics within the margin of competence, and a executive order in the final version I wrote here, it's a bit higher. We left ministerial orders the same. I wasn't sure what to do for these at first, executive orders, because they are more broad, but we don't want them to be too powerful. So I just based it off the precedent in ministerial orders and basically said that's how executive orders work too. And for like instead of topics within their margin of competence. It has made it within, like, including diplomatic and military actions as established in Title 3, because Title 3 kind of it's basically the article that goes over how the executive office works. And then lastly, norms. Norms, kind of a nothing burger, but it's there for, like, if you're in, like, a university or something and you want to establish a norm, then that's something you as a public institution can do. And it's also just about, like, what we've always done is now, like, part of the rules, but it can be overridden by any of these other rules, except referendum law. You can't do it by referendum law, at least not back in the day. Now you can, and you should always be able to, because it's kind of silly to have it be this low. But we already established that. So now that we've looked at where everything is, this is what I actually want to, for it to be changed to. For one thing, Constitution at the top, constitutional law, so it's not confusing, right? Laws, same thing. Referendum law, same thing, but moved up to in between here. Executive orders have been added and defined. If you have any, potential concerns about how I defined it here, I went with precedent the best I could to make sure, like, it wasn't going to be any sort of systemic change. This whole amendment isn't about changing the system; it's about making it so the Constitution is more readable and consistent. Ministerial order, same thing. Norms, same thing. So this should be much easier to read and understand. And once you've read this, you don't need to read anything else about the Constitution to know what takes precedent over what in terms of the hierarchy of laws, which is why I feel like we should support Amendment 20, consistency of hierarchy. And it kind of gives a brief explanation here. We change 2.5. Not really. I mean, systemically it works the same, but it's just more specific. It's like, it's held in the same regard, right? Except where laws contradict, the resolution of which is subject to the hierarchy of laws in Article 9.1. And remember, we buffed referendum law there. And the rest of this is just kind of saying, like, establishing it to be like this. Except for at the very end, where we get rid of the now redundant political hierarchy in the Bill of Rights. Not the whole Bill of Rights, and not anything that actually has your rights in it. We're not getting rid of any rights, to be absolutely 100% clear. This is just getting rid of the part that says what the hierarchy is, and we're not even getting rid of that, really. We're not really getting rid of that practical system. Or rather, we're not getting rid of that system in any practical effect. We are moving that system to Title IX and getting rid of the redundancy. And then Title 22 and 23, they're going to have their numbers updated. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for listening, and please vote yes to Amendment 20. I will talk to you all later.